And not to mention her sister Laura was 10 years older than her. So I'm assuming John was at least 10 years older than her.
Right.
So, when Karen kind of realized that she had made a mistake, she apologized to Laura, which is not the one that she screamed at.
It's just a weird, okay.
So she screamed at Laura, she apologized to Laura and offered to pay for a portion of Marietta's room. This was something that both Laura and Marietta would have testified to in court, seemingly to display the kinds of fights that Karen and John had.
It's an odd thing to
have to testify to.
Well, yeah, first of all, super embarrassing.
Right.
But also being like if you saw your husband making out with somebody, is the first question, who was that? You'd be like, were you making out? What the fuck was that?
Wow. I don't know.
Like, it just seems like an odd
making out
question.
With somebody.
You'd be like, here. Here's some money. You guys need some money to go have a go. Listen, you guys go have a great time tonight on me.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I would say. Yeah, I don't think it's out of pocket to think that somebody would say, "Who the fuck was that?"
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what do I know? So I don't think it's super significant, but it does get brought up in a lot of sources. So I didn't just want to completely ignore it. Like, I don't want to. Now that I'm kind of seeing a completely different side to this, I don't want it to seem like I'm like, Karen's an angel. Like, by no stretch of the imagination is she an angel.
Right.
So after this incident in Aruba, a lot of people, including John O'Keefe's own niece, would say that he had one foot out the door when it came to this relationship. But on her end, Karen too did not seem to be in like a place of pure bliss when it came to her relationship. I do think that Karen had a lot of jealous tendencies.
Right.
And, who am I to judge anybody's personality? But I also think that she had a tad of that alcohol aggression. You have a couple, you get angry.
Couple of pops.
Yeah, you get angrier instead of like the people that are like, just listen to this Hanson song. The lyrics are so good.
Oh, man. It's like, put me in a room with angry drunks over anybody like that, please, for the love of...
People might pick the angry drunk over me.
I mean, I picked a room of them. No, it's weird. It's weird that people like become or I don't know if you become an angry drunk or if you just are an angry drunk, but continue to drink. Like, if
what I think it is,
not...
I think that it's if she's got, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think that if you're insecure about something and then you drink, your emotions just get heightened, right?
Sure.
So it's like, I think that if she's worried that he's
gonna cheat, then even a small dance or something at a dance floor at a wedding.
Right. And he seemed to be like a really social and have a lot of friends kind of guy, where she did not seem that type. Which, who can fault her for that?
Plus,
I love not having a ton of
friends. Guy. Uniform.
Yeah, please. Oh my God. So, there's another incident that it definitely needs to be talked about, and this kind of lends itself to the fact that Karen also wasn't fully in to the relationship. So there would be a get together at John's house where they would watch a Patriots football game.
Okay.
Now, it does say in a lot of sources,
Pats.
It says in a lot of sources that it was a Super Bowl get together.
Okay.
But it wasn't, because the Super Bowl's in February, isn't it?
Correct.
So this was like 2 weeks before the January 29th incident. So not February.
No, yeah.
I'm good at dates.
Just like regular football game.
Maybe build up to the football game?
Yeah. Or build up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be playoffs yet, I don't think. I think playoffs are I think they're only a couple of weeks, but I don't know. I don't watch football.
God, your embarrassment. I asked you one thing. Just no
apologize.
Football.
I apologize. You're one thing.
Just kidding. So yeah, they had this get together, and there was a man that joined. His name was Brian Higgins. He's going to be on your little listy poo there.
Let's see. Oh, he's right at the start.
He's important. So Brian Higgins, so there's two Bries. Brian was a federal ATF agent. Do you know what an ATF agent is?
I just read the spoiler alert, Bri.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, you shouldn't have. Now that's all I can think of.
So do you know what an ATF? Yes.
Alcohol, tobacco, firearm.
You're so smart.
Yeah.
So, he was there. He went to John's house for the gathering. And when he left, Karen would walk him out. And it was said by Higgins that she kissed him on the lips, quote, not like a friend.
Oh, like somebody from France.
How do you kiss your friends on the lips?
You go like this. Well, here, I'll show you. As a friend. Now, there is tongue as friend, but It's as friends.
That's in Barrie, though, right? It's like there's a lot of French people here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Je m'appelle Matt.
That's very français.
Oh, Melton.
So yeah, when he left, she like just laid one on him. And I think these two were just also acquaintances at best. And she was like, I like the cut of your jib.
Like, man, trying to make her BF jelly?
Well, he didn't see anything.
That's
But, you know, when he left, the two would later exchange flirty texts with Karen telling Brian that he was just a type. You hot. I like you. He would tell her that the feeling was mutual, and he would ask her, are you serious or messing with me?
Oh, that's a good call.
It's very self-deprecating.
Yes.
Like, come on.
I'd be like, hey, wait.
This happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Ladies always say they like me and they don't.
Listen, don't get my hopes up. Don't get my hopes up. That's all I ask. I've been hurt before.
So Brian Higgins would later say that he was unsure whether Karen was interested in him or just at the end of her relationship with John and trying to weaponize him against John.
Wow. Does it matter, Brian?
Those
Does it
two
really
are
matter,
mutually
Bri?
exclusive.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit of both.
Yeah, right.
So yes, clearly the relationship was not perfect. And I can imagine that, you know, if anybody's relationship is laid out in court minute by minute,
Oof.
you would have anyone who could just sit there and be like, I'm not cringing at any of this.
Yeah. The kissing would imply that she was into it, though.
Well,
Or
yeah, I
she's
don't think
that
she's
ulterior-
into
no,
everybody
she's-
hearing about it
yeah.
and it being on court TV.
Oh, man.
So, you know, it would come off as it was either people were saying that, like, you know, this relationship was either, you know, it was done,
Mhm.
or in Karen's perspective, it wasn't, like, they were still working on things. They were trying to,
But it's not looking great.
it's not looking
It's in critical, not life
super
support,
great.
but it's in critical condition.
Yeah. So all that to say, on the morning of the 28th of January, this is a Friday, John and Karen had found themselves in what was called another rager.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, doesn't sound good. And it was all because of something silly surrounding John's teenage niece and what Karen had given her for breakfast that morning.
Oh, God.
It appeared as though Karen had spoiled the children and John was trying to stop these kinds of things when it came to the kids. Now, I can only imagine he takes these kids in when they're 6 and 3 years old. They had just lost both parents at essentially the exact same time. I'm imagining that if my family is any example of what, you know, their extended family, or, you know, even those that live close by, and people that they aren't seeing on a daily basis are probably just throwing
There's no
gifts
discipline.
and treats, and like you get literally anything you want.
Every
You've had
day's
more
a yes
suffering,
day. Yep.
and you're also at that age where people are doing that already.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you only eat sugar.
100%. And there's nobody's meaning anything.
No,
It's
and you know what?
just- people just try to help. There's good intentions.
We just want these poor sad babies to be happy. That's and I completely
smile
understand
for a
that.
moment. Smile for
Yeah.
just one moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is probably something that they had, you know, grown up with essentially. And I know I'd be 1,000% guilty of it. You would feel just gutted for these kids. But I think John, who's now, you know, an acting parent and like new to this whole thing, just became a father of 2,
Right.
was trying to figure out a line between parenting and just spoiling. He's not Uncle JJ anymore. He's now a
Right.
father figure, and
Yeah.
you're responsible for their dental, so they can't just eat sugar.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
like,
that's
you know,
right. Go
Their
to
brains
bed.
and like all that. You can't just be.
Yeah.
So after their fight, she would write him a message saying that she was really hurt by something that he had said. And he wrote, and this basically demonstrates exactly what I just said. He would write back, I'm sorry, this has been an issue with me for 8 years. It physically hurts me to see everyone in their life do things for them, and I'm always forced to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and 8 years now. So he's had these kids for 8 years. So this fight happened, and Karen needed to take a beat. So she left John's home and went to her home in Mansfield.
Mansfield?
Where
What state?
Mass.
I tried, guys.
So I'm more aware of myself saying that word than any swear word ever.
Really? Even C?
Oh, C's up there, but no, at least I can say it with full
Yeah,
confidence.
true.
So yeah, she went home, she did some, you know, remote working, and there's all this news going on that there's going to be this big blizzard. Okay? And Mass is going to be a big blizzard.
shit,
Watch
yeah.
out. So it was going to hit, and Karen was thinking, you know, she'd rather be cooped up with John and the kids than sitting at home alone. So she would end up going to me, and she did say in this part that she called her dad, and her dad was just like, Karen, it's going to snow. Stay home. And she was like, looks at the camera, and she's like, Dad, if I just listened to you, I wouldn't be in this situation right now.
Oh, my God.
Always listen to your father.
Like, she's in this documentary?
Yeah.
Is she in jail?
Nope.
So
No.
she's free because of the trials on.
The trial's
on bail or
ongoing.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
She's bailed out right now. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You're jumping ahead of
I'm
yourself.
sorry. I get all excited when I hear that Massachusetts accent.
I'm gonna put you in the room.
Oh.
Sorry, I just always, one of my favorite, Morbid is one of my favorite podcasts, and whenever they say room, they always say rum. And I guess somebody commented on it, and Elena's like, I've never even heard it said room, like room.
Room? No, it's rum.
So-
Rums to go.
So she leaves, and she goes out, and she's meeting John, who's already out at a bar called CF McCarthy's. Now, Karen says that, like, and I think I do know a few cops, and I think that all cops do need to have that off work time at a bar where they can just blow off steam.
Sure.
My one friend's husband, who I don't even think he's like that big of a drinker, but it's just to be able to just sit and socialize with people who know exactly what you're talking about, and it's not horribly, you know, traumatizing for them to hear some of the things that you're saying. I think that's like very important.
It's just an emotional job as a cop, right? Like, you got to think it's either sheer boredom or utter terror. Like, I don't know where, you know.
Well, I'll give you an in-between story. This one friend, her husband, told me this horrific story where he was going just to check on a, I don't think we can say this on YouTube, but a person who would fall at the very bottom of the food chain in prison for things that he is
like
interested in.
Oh, like a PDF file.
You got it. PDF file.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's what I see.
So this cop that I know, he went to, he had to do check-ins, right? To make sure this guy was where he said he was going to be. He wasn't around any schools. And so when he got there, there was a mother who was there, and she was living there with her 6-year-old. His new girlfriend was living there with her 6-year-old, and he said, pulled her into a separate room, pulled him into a separate room. His partner went and talked to him and said, like, first of all, you can't be, this is not okay. This is breaking your probation. He went with the mother and said, this is what this guy's up to. Did you know that? And she goes, oh, yeah, no, I fully knew that. And I'm okay with it, like this living situation. And he said that he just was so, he wanted to wring her neck.
Yes.
Right? And I think.
Yeah, we got an assault, ongoing assault happening here. Really? Give it about 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta take my gear off.
Exactly. So that's one of those things where it's not horrifying and it's not boring, but it's just it's a hard thing to talk to somebody who's not, you know, tuning in to listen to true crime stuff. Like you're just at a barbecue.
Side of humanity.
Hey, guess what?
Wow.
So, you know, according to cameras in these establishments, Karen would arrive at 8:51 p.m. You know, by everything that we could see on the cameras, they seemed very happy. He embraced her. I think she was still kind of being standoffish because she does the one-arm hug, and then it looked like he leaned to kiss her cheek, and she like kind of like looked away.
I'm still a little upset.
Yeah, that might have just been me. You know, that's how I do things.
Oh, you do the Lynn?
That's me projecting. So, you know, we have.
I love that move. Isn't it a classic, Karen? Don't you love it? You're like, oh, and the guy's like, and you're like, oh, I think so.
So, they both seem to be in great moods. At the first bar, CF McCarthy's, Karen would have 2 double vodkas and sodas, and then Sorry.
That is a brutal. Although she's probably watching her weight.
That's exactly why it would do it, because it doesn't really taste like anything or have sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the next bar that they would head to, where they were meeting up with more people, and it was right next door, and it was called Waterfalls. So the prosecution would later count the drinks that Karen was given and would say that she had 9 shots of hard alcohol. Like, you know, counting the doubles is 2, obviously. But Karen would say that one of the doubles she was bought and she only held it. She didn't drink it. And when someone else bought her a shot, she poured it into. So this is essentially a triple now.
Yeah.
But she still didn't drink it. So she's like, technically, I only had 6. Still more than you should have when you're driving a car.
Oh, she's dry. Oh, you're fine.
So she did, had 6 shots of vodka that she's admitting to. And she's not a big person at all. She's very small. But regardless, they would all leave, and it had been discussed that they were going to go to the home of Brian and Nicole Alberts. So this is where it's going to get a little complicated, and you're going to need to refer back to your little legend that I've made you.
Where are they, off Fairview Road?
That's right, 34 Fairview Road.
No way.
Yeah.
I knew that.
How? Oh, shit. Who's the idiot now? I hate you so much.
Thank you. I'm so proud of myself.
I literally was like, look at the thing I wrote. How'd you know that? Oh, my parents would be proud. Don't worry. They don't listen to this. So, there's going to be a lot of complicated things going on.
Okay.
Please refer back to the thing that apparently I didn't remember giving you. But Karen had only met Brian and Nicole once before, and that was the previous weekend. She met them through another couple who were going. That was Jen and Matt McCabe. Jen coached John's niece's basketball team, so Karen and John would see Jen 2 to 3 times a week, but they were just acquaintances.
Okay.
Not super good friends. And so Jen was the one that said, why don't you come to this other home of these people that you really don't know at all?
Sounds great.
That sounds like we're not supposed to be here and getting invited. But so Jen was sisters with the homeowner, Nicole. Okay. And Nicole's husband, Brian, was also a cop. He was a retired Boston officer who was the head of the fugitive unit. His brother, Kevin, however, was on the Canton PD with John.
Gotcha.
Okay. So there were connections there. And Kevin and Brian's other brother, Chris, was also going to Fairview. And he was there with his wife, Julie. Julie and Chris, their son, Colin, was there ahead of the adults returning. So Colin is the nephew to the homeowners.
Gotcha.
So he was there ahead of the adults returning that night with some high school age friends because his cousin, Brian Albert Jr., was celebrating his 23rd birthday, which was the very next day.
Gotcha.
So the way it sounds, and, judging by everything I've seen, and we will get more into it in the second episode for sure, but there's a lot of intermingling when it came to law enforcement in this area. Meaning everybody knew everybody.
Okay.
Like John was essentially just hanging out with these people because, they're kind of like he's on the force with Chris, which is the brother to the homeowner, but they're also friends with Jen, who is the daughter's basketball coach. Like it's a lot of, we kind of know a bunch of people, but we're not really friends with anybody.
Right. It's the land of acquaintances.
They're all super close. Like they're all family.
Yeah.
So also in attendance that night was federal agent Brian Higgins. Oof. This is the man who had shared a strange kiss with Karen 2 weeks prior at a football party.
That's right.
So Brian and Nicole Albert lived at 34 Fairview Road, which you knew.
Which I knew.
So, but John and Karen had never been there before. So what I'm going to read to you now is a list of communications. So at 12:14 a.m., John O'Keefe would text Jen McCabe, "Where to?" Less than a minute later, she would respond with a 44-second long phone call, presumably telling him where to go. 12:18, John calls her again, and it lasts for 36 seconds. Jen said that she would see, at this point, Karen's dark Lexus SUV parked on the road outside at 12:27. These times are important, but you don't pay too much because I will go back.
Okay.
So she sees Karen parked outside at 12:27. She would text "here" with an exclamation point and a question mark, which is very aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, here?
Here?
No. First of all, it's midnight. Relax.
Here?
So she would then tell him to park behind her vehicle. No response. At 12:29, they would apparently have an 8-second long phone conversation. At 12:31, she would text "hello." That would be followed by 3 unanswered calls from Jen to John, and then a text asking where they were. At 12:45, Jen would text "hello," followed again by another 3 unanswered calls from Jen. Okay.
Okay.
According to Karen, on her end, She was hesitant to go to this gathering because neither of them were super great friends with anyone there. And she didn't know if they kind of just received a pity invite, like,
sounds like it.
When you're kind of in earshot of an invite.
Right. And you come too.
Oh my God, you guys. You and you.
Assuming then this guy over here,
Yeah.
big guy, we're
Hey,
talking
big guy.
about you.
So, yeah, she didn't know if they were actually wanted there. Another turn happened when allegedly John was receiving directions and Jen had referred to Bella's mom's house, trying to help him understand where to go. Like, apparently 34 Fairview was just down the road from Bella's mom's house.
Right.
This was apparently somebody that John had briefly dated.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is true in her state, maybe Karen got upset, and this would definitely explain her later voicemails.
Right.
So regardless, they weren't in a super good place when they arrived, and John was supposed to, according to Karen, run in the house and get basically like a vibe check because